We have been given a general time frame for moving, but that time frame is exactly when we will be having a child, and we are concerned with having to switch our providers, or possibly, and they're speaking about medical providers, or moving with a newborn. Are there any options for us concerning the time frame, or is this going to be a unit-specific issue?
Okay, so absolutely a lot of great questions coming in. The simple and very, very short answer is yes. I'm not sure whether this individual is a military individual. We can certainly work the orders based on their timeline. If it's a civilian, and I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone here, but once a civilian gets orders, they have up to a year to execute those orders. So there's a year flexibility built in for the civilian workforce to make those moves. And so this family could certainly move early or move later based on their choice, if it's a civilian family. For a military family, we could certainly figure out how to work that. So I would urge that individual to contact their chain of command, and we can work that. So I hope I answered that question.
Sir, thank you. That answer, of course, was from Major General Boozer, so thank you very much, sir. And unknown whether that individual was military or civilian, but I think I saw CPAC given the nod on the one-year piece. All right, excellent. Okay, another question from the audience, please. Anyone?
I have a couple questions. One was brought to my attention. My wife wanted to know, when exactly are the orders going to be cut so that we can start looking for housing? And two, when it comes to the new housing, how is it going to be decided who moves where? And if there are exceptions to policy, can we, myself being a E5, can we get the exception to policy that we can move off base? And one more question. Do you transition the time between housing our household goods? How long does that take before we will actually receive it on the Wiesbaden side?
Okay, a couple of great questions there. The first thing is, because you asked the orders question, I think we're going to probably turn this one back to you, sir, as well. But what unit are you from?
You, sir, G3, sir.
Okay, great. All right. Anybody from U.S. Army Europe want to take the orders piece on? Okay.
We have worked through a timeline for the orders process that we will issue for civilians and for military, issue them their RFO or their management directive reassignment 30 days in advance of giving them their orders, but giving them their orders so that they are 90 days before your scheduled effective date to be working in Wiesbaden. So you should really get your orders about 90 days in advance before you need to get up there, which gives you time to work to find a house and work with the housing folks to get up there. Did that answer that question for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That was from Mr. Dave Fulton, Task Force Relocation, one of the masterminds behind this. We've got two questions for housing. Don, you got them both?
Roger, sir. I can weigh in on both of those. The first one is very simple. We run the housing area. Once the housing area is open, which will probably be, as Mr. Gerber said, June time frame is the time frame for the end of construction, but that usually doesn't mean that will be the end of the area that we can get in, because with that piece becomes the delivery of the appliances and those things that go into the house. But once the housing area is open and we're ready for business, we'll follow the guidelines of AR 420-1 that establishes a waiting list for those people to go into houses, and we'll start extinguishing the list. And as soon as you get put on the list, you get a sequence number, and you'll know right when you can move in. And trust me, when we open up 300 houses, the list will go pretty quick. So you'll move in pretty fast. What we would like to do on our end to assist you with your move is make you an offer so that it'll do two things for you. One, if you live on post, you can come up to our office. We'll get you set on. You say you want to be on post. We'll go ahead and get you set up, take your orders, put you on the waiting list. You still have the 60-day timeline that can tick away while you're waiting for the on-post housing to come available, which if the time for you for moving in the housing area opens up, we get you on that list. And that allows for a speedy transition. We give you the offer with the address listing, so when you go to see transportation, you can give them the pinpoint address where your quarters are going to be, okay, before you even sign for them. We give them the offer, but we don't complete the assignment until you clear quarters here in Heidelberg. Once you clear quarters here, then we can assign quarters there. You can't be signed for 2 sets of quarters at the same time, but we can make you the offer, which gives you the physical address and lets you do all the movement pieces that you need to do. Same thing works on the off-post piece. We can do the offer if you want to move on-post and you go from private rental here to on-post there, then we can do the same thing and give you an offer so you have the physical address and those things. If you wanted to go off-post, we will follow the guidelines of the user policy letter right now that authorize E5s and E6s to go off-post in accordance with the timelines for the certificates of non-availability to go off-post. We just follow those straight guidelines that have already been established. Very simple. Does that answer your questions?
Yes, sir, it does. And the last piece was, how long can we expect to wait till our household goods arrive in Wiesbaden?
On the household good piece, I can't answer that per fact. However, what I would ask you to do is, as soon as you get your orders, contact the transportation office here in Baden-Württemberg, because they're going to be the one who's scheduling your move. It could be the same day, with 24-hour period. It could be 72 hours, but they're trying to establish a door-to-door move, and I would ask you to contact the transportation office here.
Yes, sir, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Laber I'm the ITO, Installation Transportation Officer for Heidelberg. To answer your question, Sergeant, it's crucial that you come to us as soon as you have your gaining address. Now, but to give you a specific date, contractually, we have to give the moving company 10 days. However, it's been our experience, particularly at this time of the year, that has taken considerably less than that. We've had deliveries in the spring for, you come in today, 5 days is realistic. That does change based on what's happening at the time of the year, how many people are moving. But like I said, contractually, 10 days, but we expect much less than that.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is General Hertling. I think Sergeant Wagner brought up a bunch of great questions, and if his wife was pushing them, God bless her, because she did a great job. But one of the things I think that he didn't ask that I'd like to answer is, I think there's a lot of people out there right now saying, when am I going to get orders? When do I go? What's going to happen to me? Am I going to be able to arrange, what was just stated, you could potentially get a door-to-door move, potentially. You could pack up one day, have it delivered the next, and have to beat the truck up there. That's a possibility. Or the contractual agreement says it could take longer. But I think one of the things that we didn't address in the whole orders process is this will take time. One of the things that I've been telling all the other communities about what's happening right now in USERV, because I think there's this feeling as we're trying to get information out that everybody thinks we're going to turn the switch off at one place and turn it on at another. It is going to take a long time. And someone came up to me the other day, a civilian came up to me the other day and says, I don't know when I'm moving. And I said, ma'am, I don't know when you're moving either. Because some of the things just have to be metered in terms of a flow. And there are so many things that go into this. Housing availability. Believe it or not, I think, Dave, you would agree with me that what the Air Force calls the limiting factor in our moves is the number of moving bands in Europe. If we wanted to, we couldn't move everybody up there at the same time. The facilities of having, you're in the G3, so part of the G3 is going to move early, part of them is going to move last. It's just like a unit moving into a deployment zone. So as we talk about these things and give the information out, please understand that this will be a metered flow. And again, go back to what everybody up here has stated in one way or another. We're going to take care of you as best we can. So I'm glad your wife pushed you up here, Sergeant Wagner, you big coward. Why didn't you come up here on your own? All right? Okay, good deal. All right, thanks.
General Erling, thank you very much, sir. One quick plug. We are at hour 2. We've got lots of airtime left, and we've got lots of questions coming on Facebook. We are probably going to keep the formal piece of this going for about another 15, 20 minutes or so, and then we'll see how it's coming in with questions. And again, we'll get to all these Facebook questions. I would encourage you to stick around because you may remember as you came in, you got handed a raffle ticket. I have mine in one of the 15 pockets I have on this uniform, but Installation Management Command Europe will be handing out some great prizes to those in the audience here. Going to bring Command Sergeant Major Marich up here pretty soon to read those off, so stick around. We got lots more questions here. This one on Facebook from Dodds. I think this is an easy one. We talked about it a little bit, but just to clarify, how is it determined which elementary school your kid will go to? My child will be in the first grade for the 2012-13 school year. Did I see it correctly that there are 2 elementary schools?
You did see it correctly. There are 2 elementary schools. It's real simple. Alcom Elementary School only services the Alcom housing area. Heidelberg will pick up all the other folks. So if you are assigned to Alcom housing area, your child will walk to school. If you're on the Economy or in Heidelberg or at Mainz-Castell, any of the other possibilities for your housing, that age student will be going to Heidelberg Elementary School.
Sir, thank you very much. And I think we have some people in the audience waiting, so come on up here, please. Now, who exactly is going to be asking the question?
Catherine Bailey, G4 Current Operations. I noticed that you have no child care spaces for babies 18 months and younger. What are you doing to make sure there are spots for the little ones coming up on the move?
Cecilia, would you stand up and answer that question?
Cecilia, come. We have just the person who can answer that question here. Cecilia?
I'll try, sir. If you noticed on the chart, we had one child development centre that was vacant. If we get a lot of children on the waiting list, we will open up that centre. But we're also presently opening up family childcare homes, which will take toddlers and infants. And so we really don't see that as a problem.
Thank you so much, and thank you for asking that question. Sir?
Hi, Rick Baumgartner. I've been here, a member of the community for quite a number of years. I have a couple suggestions, and I have a couple questions. Suggestion, MWR. Get some bicycles and put them in strategic places around the base.
Sir, did you listen to my AFM radio spot 2 days ago?
No, sir.
Sir, I'm with you. Sir, I will say that a bike share program is something that we are looking at for a couple of reasons.
Awesome.
The first reason isn't just because of fitness, but the second reason is because as we look at putting more people, on the installation, we have to look at smarter ways to get around. Wiesbaden Army Airfield, soon to be Clay Caserne, is one such area. We have people that will be living, working in close proximity. We have got parking, some of which will go away because of the new construction. What better way to get around via bike? But I will take that one step further. I am one community member that will not be living on the airfield, more than likely, and so I will be looking at innovative ways to get to work, and so I will be looking at bike routes. There are bike routes, in fact, that go between the Ockham, Heidelberg, Crestview housing area and Wiesbaden Army Airfield. The problem is, having ridden those routes, you got to be a little bit of a land navigator to do it. So working with the city, what we're going to try to do is get some, some very clear signs up so that people, if they choose to do so during the good weather or bad weather, whatever the case may be, can ride their bikes to work, not just share them. But bike share program is something that we're going to be taking on. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right. Paint them army yellow.
And, sir, let me also say that we already have a book put together with all the bike routes, especially from the housing areas down to WAF, so that hopefully you'll use those.
Now, will the bike racks be covered because with the German weather always being...
Yeah, sir. We have certainly not, this falls into the commander good idea category at this point. So we have not staffed this one, but obviously we have to do what the Germans do. They've been doing this for a long time, but I'm a veteran of bike share programs in the Washington, D.C. area, and so, yeah, if you have the equipment, you got to keep it covered for sure.
So my question is for the chief or the city of Wiesbaden, marketing. Are there going to be tram lines or regional train lines that are going to be in the proximity of the base? Because a lot of times the military bases are out in the woods and in the hills, and it's hard to get to them if you want to use public transportation.
Wiesbaden's public transportation is based on bus, so we don't have a tram, but there are buses running every 5 minutes on all the different routes. So just to give you a first information. We have the city map outside at our desk, and there's also the public bus and transportation system on it. So within the city limits, you can use the bus, and then, of course, from the train station in Wiesbaden, you have all the connections to the other smaller towns that are also within the 25-kilometer range of also with all your bus transportation or school bus transportation. If it's, for example, Eltville in the Rheingau or to the other side towards Frankfurt area. So that there are then the trams and the official train lines.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may add to that, just one note. Sorry, I'm here. On the Garrison website, wiesbaden.army.mil, in the newcomer section, we have posted the public bus schedule going from the airfield, which is a little bit on the outskirts of the city, to the downtown area. It goes throughout the day, about once an hour, but during rush hour, twice an hour, in the mornings for a couple of hours, and in the afternoon. So find that under the newcomer button on wiesbaden.army.mil.
Okay, excellent. Last question, sir. My daughter's a junior, and she's really concerned about graduating as the last class from Heidelberg in 2013. So from what you stated earlier, she'll graduate from 2013. Is that correct?
If she remains at the school, yes. The last graduation for Heidelberg High School will be as tradition in the Stadthalle in June of 2013.
So now, if my organization moves me prior, will I be able to leave my family here? I was told someplace up to a year I can leave my family here, but work in Wiesbaden. That's correct?
That's basically dependent upon the organization you work for. So whether it's military or civilian.
There's a process in place through the garrison commander to request up through your chain of command for the garrison commander to make exceptions to the housing policy. So if you work up there and you want to leave your family there, Colonel DeCoster's got that.
And since I am the proud owner of one of those exception to policies, I can tell you that that process is in place and it works. Yeah, the shuttle is a great question, and thank you so much, Colonel Baxter, for bringing that up, because that leads into a Facebook question. When will transportation begin to take workers back and forth between Wiesbaden and Heidelberg? How will this work? Will it be a constant shuttle back and forth, or once in the morning and once in the evening to bring everyone home?
We're running the bus right now. It's running every day from Wiesbaden in this direction and returning those employees back at the end of the day. It provides for an 8-hour workday down here for those employees that we've already forward-based who have arrived, and the staff sections have decided to put them forward. As the population grows where we have employees that need to, who live here but need to work in Wiesbaden, we will start running the bus there. Lieutenant Colonel John Callery out of our G4 has been organizing this. It's working, and as we identify the employees that need that bus, the system, the process exists. And we'll be doing this throughout the entire move to make sure that we can get folks to work on time.
Dave, thank you very much. If someone else has a question from the audience, come on up. We've got a quick question for the vets here. We are in the Mannheim community moving to Wiesbaden. Currently, our pets' records were automatically sent to Patrick Henry Village. Will our records be moved automatically to Wiesbaden?
No, for the pets that are going to be moving to Wiesbaden, the owners will need to come and get the records. They will not be automatically moved.
Okay, so no automatic sending. All right, thank you very much. Questions from the audience? Anybody else? We'll probably take a couple more from Facebook, and then we'll go back to the informal session right after we do the raffle. Let's see. This is another housing question, and Don, this is a pretty simple one. I think we've talked around this, but this is we are currently in Wiesbaden. The husband of this young lady is a sergeant, an E5. With the anticipated increased population in Wiesbaden, is there any chance we would be given the option to have off-post housing, as we currently do not have that option to live off-post?
If you're already housed in Army Family Housing and you wanted to move off onto the economy, it is possible. What I would ask you to do is submit a request for an exception of policy to our office, and we'll staff that up to the commander to leverage that off post. It all depends on a few things when we start looking at placing what the regulation calls junior enlisted soldiers off post. If you haven't looked at the what we call the rent rate. In German, it's called the Mietspiegel. If you haven't looked at that rate for Wiesbaden, Wiesbaden is one of the most expensive areas in Europe. And to be frank with you, if you have you're a junior enlisted soldier and you have a small family or sometimes a large family, living on the economy in Wiesbaden is expensive. It is really expensive when it comes time for the utilities and the water and electricity and those type of things. So for junior enlisted families, it's usually better to leave them on post. However, there is always the opportunity to move off post.
Don, thank you very much. And I review those exceptions to policy almost daily. So yeah, if there's a special need out there, it's a buy on individual basis. We'll take a look at it. This one is for DHR, I believe. It says, will the college programs here in the Heidelberg Education Center be continued in Wiesbaden?
Sir, there are some college programs that are provided here in this area that are not going to be transferred over to Wiesbaden community. I know that the Education Services Centers are looking at that between the Education Center, which is Hub, which is in Kaiserslautern. And I would also like to mention that the contracts for all the schools are going to be renewed this year during cycle year 12-13. And I believe that is one of the areas of concern that they have concerning that.
Thank you. I will add something to that and say that if you are attending or participating in some of those programs here, you know, we will post, you received it during the brief, the contact information for DHR. Let them know. Because if there is a demand, just like the Rod and Gun Club piece, if there is high demand, you know, it's something that we got to take on and work through as a staff and community. So bring it on if you're concerned about those types of programs. Any other questions from the audience? If not, I think I'm going to take about 2 more from Facebook, and then we'll wrap the formal portion of this up. Again, let's see. Let's take a look at this. I think this one is for FMWR. Is there going to be an agreement made between CYS Heidelberg and Wiesbaden regarding youth sports? I have children that play sports here but could end up moving to Wiesbaden during the middle of the season.
That's an excellent question, and I really don't have a direct answer for it. I can only say that we have a great CYS sports program, and although sometimes it is difficult to break in the middle of the season, I would ask that if someone is in that particular condition, that they deal directly with me, and I'll make sure that we do our very best to accommodate them. Hopefully it'll be a relatively unusual situation. But, you know, one of the things that everyone should realize here is that youth sports is not only dependent on having enough kids to participate, it's also dependent on having enough volunteer coaches to make the program grow. So that if we end up with that kind of a situation, hopefully the great Heidelberg crowd will be stepping up to bat and volunteer.
Okay, Dr. Schlosser, thank you. I'm going to, we're going to take this question, and this will probably require a little bit of help from at least 2 individuals here. It says, I'm a Department of the Army civilian. My son is an EFMP child. Question, will the same special needs level services currently provided at Mannheim Elementary be available at Wiesbaden? Mannheim Elementary does not know. I am considering asking for an exception to policy to move to K-Town, where I know they are offered, and commute to work in Wiesbaden. I hope someone can shed some light on this.
As far as the EFMP programs at Wiesbaden, we will accommodate any child that registers into our schools with what's been determined their needs based on their individual educational program. So if you arrive on our doorstep to enroll and you are eligible, we will provide the program.
Okay, thank you. ACS, nothing to add to that?
ACS has a full range of, and I have Jan Murd in the back of the house. Unfortunately, you can't talk to him from Facebook, but be assured that within the EFMP arena of ACS, in Wiesbaden, we are capable of handling all those things that you are authorized. Civilians fall in a special category, however, in that they do not pass the normal screening tests that military people are forced to pass as far as an EFMP. So what I would ask is that if you have access to the global, please go to Jan Mert, M-E-E-R-T, who is my ACS director, and she'll do her best to answer your questions.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, lots of questions on Facebook that we haven't answered, and we're going to turn this over to Command Sergeant Major here in a moment to conduct a raffle. I would tell you this, as we told the Chamber of Commerce last night, this is not the end. This is the beginning to this type of dialogue. And while it may not be as big and as glamorous in the PHV Pavilion, we are going to find out some way to communicate with you, whatever way possible, to answer your questions out there. And we will start out by taking all these Facebook questions that have rolled in, even the ones that we have answered, put them in a question and answer format and get them out to the greater community, because a question for one may be a question for many. I said this in the beginning, and I'll say it now. Although we are a community in transition up there, we are ready. Whether it's something you're looking for your kids, whether it's medical services, whether it's how you register your pets, what house you will live in, there's a tremendous amount of capability and a lot of professionals that are at your beck and call to assist you. If at all fails, if for some reason you cannot communicate one of these great professionals here, contact me. Let me know. And I'll be happy to give anybody my card after this, and I may not be able to answer the question, but I'll point you in the right direction. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to U.S. Army Garrison Baden-Württemberg for the great support in being here today. Without further ado, Installation Command Europe, Command Sergeant Major with the raffle, Sergeant Major Marriage.
This has been an AFN Europe Special Report.